Conflict is an incompatibility between values, needs, goals, interests, and actions. Conflicts within the workplace are unavoidable, and you need to embrace the fact that it will happen sooner or later. Now, the ability to be able to recognize the conflict and get to the root cause of the conflict and actually resolve the conflict is essential for all personnel who work within the workplace. This is for leaders and staff positions alike. Within these positions, all staff at one point in time will have some kind of conflict that need to be resolved. Why do conflicts occur in the first place? Well, there are many reasons that a conflict can occur, and some of them have absolutely nothing to do with what's going on at work. Family issues that occur at an employee's home can affect their outlook at work. This, in turn, could create a workplace conflict. Have you ever been stuck in a traffic jam and you were very upset when you got to work? Guess what? This could also cause a workplace conflict. How about when you got into a disagreement with a coworker? It really wasn't over anything major, but for some strange reason, now there's animosity between the two of you. You now have a workplace conflict. And of course, what happens when your boss tells you to do something that you do not want to do? You have now created a workplace conflict. So, now that we've established some of the things that could cause a workplace conflict, the question remains, how do we resolve the conflict? Well, one of the first things to do once you decide that you have a conflict is you need to come together with the other party and decide that you want to actually resolve the conflict. I know many people have had arguments with people and one person is arguing and the other person isn't. Well, that's a one-way fight. It's also one-way communication, and you cannot solve a workplace conflict via a one-way conversation. It takes two parties to come together to decide that this workplace conflict exists and it needs to be resolved. Once they've come together, then you have to come up with open communication between the two fighting parties. The reason this is important is because the two parties must come together and find out what the root cause of the issue is. Sometimes there are issues that happen and we get upset about them. However, they're not the real reason that we're upset. There's some underlying issue that happened in our lives that we're angry about, and then unfortunately something minor happens and it creates a large explosion. So again, you must decide that we need to have open communication to get to the root cause of the problem in order to solve it. Now, you have to understand that conflict involves multiple parties, and all of these parties work in the workplace together. But when you're having a two-way conversation, you're probably thinking, what's in this for me? What am I going to gain from attempting to resolve this conflict? You can't have a conflict resolution without having two parties work together for a win-win scenario. It's just like in contract negotiations between the vendor and a company. The company
created using Powtoon